Hello, dear learners. Bien le bonjour, chers amis. Welcome to our first lesson in this course on French language that you have enrolled into. So, ready for the journey? But before we begin our lessons, let me make clear some points which will be able to introduce you to our teaching learning style that we follow for the lectures. The course, as you all know, is titled Parler de soi, speaking about oneself, and comprises of 3 credits. You shall have 3 main modules or units, each having 10 video lectures and relevant e-content to support your learning. The first unit here is Bonjour, and today's lecture is Salutations and Greetings, Part 1. Dear learners, in the true IGNU spirit, the People's University, our lessons are unique, customized, and following methods and techniques that will make them simple, enjoyable, and inclusive. You must understand also that language learning is not merely about grammar, about vocabulary, grammatical rules, nouns, pronouns, spellings, etc. It's a much larger process. It's a path to discovering new sights, new sounds, new cultures, new realities, and most of all, a wonderful opportunity to help you communicate and interact with people who speak the language that you are learning right now. Here is a broad outline of the lectures we have for you. Each lecture shall be divided in 3 major parts with 1 surprise bit at the end. The first 3 parts are words and expressions, mots et expressions. The second is grammar, grammaire, and the third is culture and civilization, or culture et civilisation. And the fourth part, as I said, is the surprise section each time we have for you, which is called Saviez-vous, or did you know? So here we are, ready to start our journey to learning the French language. Allons-y. Unit 1, Bonjour. Salutations and Greetings, Part 1. First part of the lecture is Mots et expressions. The first word, dear learners, is bonjour. Bonjour. I'm sure you have come across this term even before, somewhere, sometime. This is good morning in French and is practically the most often used term of greeting throughout the day till, I believe, till evening. Yes, bonjour is used almost everywhere, all the time during the day to wish to greet others. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Please don't say bonjour. There is no j here. It's bonjour, bonjour. The next term is salut and coucou. Salut and coucou, they are more informal ways of greeting, quite like hello and hi in English. So naturally, they would be used in informal situations with colleagues or friends or people you are familiar to. So salut and coucou are slightly more informal than a bonjour, and they're used in casual situations. Please note also, the word salut has a T at the end, but that is silent. So you don't say salute, you say salut. Salut and coucou. coucou. The next word is enchanté. Enchanté. The CH in French becomes sh. Enchanté. It means pleased to meet you, delighted to meet you. So this is an expression where you express extreme delight at having met someone, greeting someone. You just say enchanté. And this term can actually be used by a man for a woman or by a woman for a man. So it's both ways it can be used for greeting the other. Enchanté. The next is bonsoir. Bonsoir. Bon, we did earlier with bonjour, same way, bon here, and then soir. The last R is a typical French sound, re. Don't worry about that right now. We shall come to it in later lessons. For the moment, if you wish, you can just let it be silent almost. Bonsoir. That's also okay. But don't be tempted to use the r sound. The r, as for R, you have been using so long, the r does not exist in French. When you see the letter R, it's almost always the French R we're talking about, and that is the r. It comes from here. So you say bonsoir or bonsoir for the moment. Don't worry about that. It will come slowly. I told you this because right from the first day, first lesson, I want you to get the hang of the French language and how it sounds and how it should sound. The next is bonne nuit. As you see, this means good night. For the first word, dear learners, note it's not bon, it's bonne. Bonne nuit. Nuit is night and bonne is good, good night. But when you speak, there is no break actually. You don't say bonne nuit. You just continue as bonne nuit, as if it were one word. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit. That is good night. Another thing, that there is a T at the end of the word nuit, but that's silent. So you don't say nuit, you say nuit. The next word is bonne journée. No, it's not journée. I know looking at the double E's, you would be wanting to say journée, but actually it's journée, as if there were N-A-Y, like day. It's pronounced similarly, journée, and it means good day. So when you meet someone, you begin by saying a bonjour and bonne journée, just like in English also, you say while taking leave of the person. You don't meet someone and immediately say bonne journée. Bonne journée is used to take leave of someone when you are about to leave. So once again, it's bonne journée. Bonne journée. That is good day. A little longer term, that's ça va. Ça va meaning all well. That's a very light greeting, a very casual way of asking if all's well. So you just say ça va. Please note that little sign under the letter C, that's called a cedille. We shall take it up in greater detail in later lessons. At the moment, just remember, whenever you see that little sign under the letter C, understand that C is pronounced as sir and not que. So this word is not kava, it is sava. So sava means all well. In Hindi also, we often say tic-tac. That's a semi-casual way of asking if everything's okay. And in response, one says, ça va bien. Bien is well, ça va bien, or ça va très bien. All's well, all's very well. Ça va and ça va très bien. That's the response. You also go on to say merci, et toi, or et vous. Quickly, I should tell you why toi and vous, because in French, similar to our Hindi, we have notions of aap and tum. We shall discuss that later. For the moment, you could use the word toi for your friends or your peers, or your colleagues, people younger to you, you're casual with, you're familiar with. So you could say et toi, et vous, and you. Vous is for formal situations or someone that you would consider putting in the आप category. Et vous, thank you, and what about you? So that's the polite way of responding when someone asks you ça va bien. So you say ça va bien, ça va très bien, merci, et vous, merci, et toi. That brings us to the end of our first part. That was Noe Expression. You learned some new words, new expressions today. And we go on to part 2 of our lecture, that's grammar. Grammaire. Here we begin with the fundamentals of language learning, that is les alphabets. Yes, you heard right. I said alphabet and not alphabets. Although we write alphabets, but we pronounce it as alphabet. The T is silent again. Please remember the same 26 alphabets here are used just the way they are in the English language, the same list, apart from special signs here and there, which we shall discuss later. But the list of alphabets remains exactly the same. The script remains the same, which is the Roman script. It's not the English script, it is the Roman script. So as for English, so for French, the script remains common. In today's lecture, I'm going to handle letters A to M. A to M. Try listening to me first, and second time when I say repeat after me. I have tried mentioning the exact pronunciation, which should help you understand better how each alphabet in French is pronounced, because it is pronounced differently many times from what it is in English. So the letter A is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. Please edit up to letter N for this lecture. I shall repeat the list once more for you. A, B, C, D. Please note, the sound is the and not de. In French, there is no de sound. It's the. Just like in Hindi, we have dawa, the. It's the same the sound here. So for the letter D, it's called de. E is called e. The equivalents that I have provided in the PPTs are, to the best of my knowledge, closest in pronunciation to what we're looking at in the French language. To facilitate learning, I have tried to put equivalents. There are very minute differences. As you progress, you would understand the sound system of each language is very unique, very special to that language, and we cannot ever claim to provide exact replication of the sounds in another language. There will always be very minute differences. But for the moment, I think the way I have tried explaining to you here is what comes closest to the ideal pronunciation of the French alphabets. So try repeating after me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and N. If you did notice, the letters G and J sound like the letter S in the words pleasure and measure. You must have heard these in English, pleasure, measure. So when you say that je sound, That is the precise sound we're looking at. Je for letter J becomes J, and for the letter G, it becomes J. There is no J, there is no Z. When you look at the letter G or J, you have to make it sound like je. Please remember that. As I also said, de and te, they do not exist in French. It's de and te. So when we handle the letter T in the next list, you will also see that the T is pronounced as te and not te. Keep these little things in mind. We're trying our best to provide you with equivalents that you can learn faster and better. Oh, so after this, you have a small little exercise that we have for you. Look at the three words here. The first word is bonbon. Bonbon, what is bonbon? Bonbon is toffee. Toffee that we eat, sweets, toffee, that's a bonbon in French. Try spelling this. I put it here especially to make you practice saying alphabets independently that we have done, B-O-N, B-O-N. So when you spell it in French, you would say B-O-N, B-O-N, bonbon. The next is Fabien. No, it's not Fabien. It's Fabien is the name of a boy. And if you were to pronounce it, if you were to spell it, F-A-B-I-E-N is Fabien. The next word, no, it's not Alice. I know we say Alice in English, but this word in French is pronounced as Alice. Alice. A-L-E-C-E is Alice. It's a girl's name. So there you have three words, bonbon, Fabien, and Alice. Just a suggestion, try spelling your own names and surnames when you're practicing the lesson on your own. It will help you understand handling French alphabets. A little more of grammar. You will have known the word the girl, the boy, the chair, the table in English. These are the definite articles. But in French, the same word the, T-H-E, the, has four different forms. The first is L-E, that's pronounced as le. Then you have L-A or la, that is used for feminine singular. You have L-E-S, which is pronounced le, used before masculine or feminine plurals. And then there is L apostrophe, which goes before masculine or feminine singulars before vowels. Once again, le, la, le, and L apostrophe. We have some examples for you here. La fille. That word is fille for girl. It's not fille, it's fille, ending in a year sound. Fille, la fille. So it's the girls, it's feminine. So you have la fille. You have le garçon. Garçon is the word for boy. So that's a masculine singular. You have le garçon. Les filles, les garçons. You note there is an S in both words. So this represents the plural, although you don't pronounce the S. It remains garçon. You just say les filles, les garçons. La chaise, les chaises. Chaise is chair. Now, this notion of genders for objects, for non-living things, is unique to French vis-a-vis English. But here we have seen this in Hindi. We have strilling and pulling allotted to objects around. Badi kursi, unchi kursi, Bada pahad, uncha pahad, unchi pahadi. So in Hindi also we have the same concept of gender with living as well as non-living objects. So this as a concept is nothing new to learners in India who know Hindi and perhaps some more regional languages which also allot gender to living as well as non-living objects. The next word is le stylo, les stylos. Stylo is pen, which you write stilo. It's not stylo. It's stilo. So that's a masculine. So the singular is le stylo and the plural is les stylos. Then you have a word université. Yes, you guessed right. It means university. You say université. Université. This little sign on E that you notice, it's an accent which I'd put closest to an ekar matra. It gives the letter E the sound of A. So instead of saying université, it becomes université. And then you have les universités. So as I had said, the uh, singular form of a word beginning in a vowel takes L apostrophe before that. So the university would be written as l'université. Independently, it would be université, but in company of L apostrophe, it becomes l'université. Please note. So now in the next section of grammar, I have a small little list for you of les chiffres, numbers. Don't worry about the little French words I keep dropping here and there just to give you an idea of what the language could sound like. I haven't written the word chiffre here. Les chiffres, numbers in French, I would be handling the numbers 1 to 8 in this lecture. Try listening carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, well, we stop at oui. I'm sorry, I went ahead. So here we're handling from 1 to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you listen to the lecture again, try repeating it the way I'm speaking. Try speaking with me after me. This should give you an initiation into French counting. Then the third part of our lecture, Culture et Civilisation, Culture and Civilization. I would like to begin this section with the geography and actual physical location of the country in the world within Europe. I'm sure all of our dear learners, you're well aware that France is a European country. It's located in Western Europe. And after that, I shall also show you a rough distribution of the Francophone countries. Here you have an independent map of France and then France within Europe. The first map, if you see, it's France alone. Did you know that there's another name for France that we have? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It is considered a six-sided country. So what is a six-sided figure in geometry called? It's a hexagon. So another name for France is actually l'hexagone. L'hexagone. Sometimes people just use this word to denote France. Here, if you look at its location, it is in Western Europe. To its southwest, you have Spain. To its north, you have England. Eastern and southeastern parts, you have Germany and Switzerland, and the southeast corner, you have Italy. There is also a small red dot here in the sea, that is the island of Corsica. We shall come to it in a greater detail of geography lessons we do later. Uh, this this map shows also the oceans and the seas surrounding France. Here you have the Atlantic Ocean to its west. This is la mer Atlantique, l'océan Atlantique. Here we have the English Channel. We all know the English Channel, which exists between England and France. And this, of course, is the Mediterranean Sea, south of France, the very famous French Riviera that is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea. It's a beautiful tourist area, very well known. So these are the three main water bodies surrounding the country. And you have the land borders on the eastern and southeastern side. The next map is Francophone regions. If you listen to our introductory lecture, I had distinctly discussed Francophone countries of the world. These are countries which were ex-French colonies, just like India was an ex-British colony. There are several countries in the world which were ex-French colonies, colonized by the French for a long number of years before they gained independence, and today they are independent sovereign countries. But the language and the culture, they retain bits of the, the French presence there over the years. And the countries, I would roughly tell you, this is Northern North Africa, Canada. Canada is officially bilingual, having both French and English as the recognized official languages. Within Canada, there is a province of Quebec, somewhere here, which is uniquely francophone. The rest of the provinces also use French because it is officially recognized as the second foreign language, the second official language here in Canada. Apart from this, in North America, you have several countries in the African continent. The western part of Africa, the central, south central, and some countries in northern Africa. These were these were French colonies, ex-French colonies, and they retain a huge impact of the French presence here through language, culture, literature, lifestyles, cuisine. A lot of influence of the French culture remains till date. So these are roughly clubbed under what we call the Francophone regions within Africa. It's a huge presence there, very densely populated, a lot of people speaking French. In Europe, of course, you have France, you have Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, a part of Switzerland, which are chiefly Francophone regions. Apart from that, French is here and there a general presence across the continent. But these are the Francophone regions. Then you have in Asia, you have Cambodia and Vietnam, which were ex-French colonies, so they're part of the Francophone world. And of course, it's a small little island country of Mauritius. I wonder how many of you have visited Mauritius to date. It's a beautiful little island country with a lovely mixed culture evolved by the presence of people coming from various cultures and countries. Uh, India being a large part of uh, of influence within the Mauritian culture. And of course, it is a Francophone region because this used to be a French colony for a very long time. French is till date the official language of Mauritius. And you have another little island country here, the southeast part of Africa. That's the island of Madagascar. Madagascar, you might have heard of it. That was also an ex-French colony. It's a beautiful island country in the Indian Ocean on the southeastern coast of Africa. So that brings us to the end of the map work we did today, and we come to the last bit, which is the surprise section we talked of. It's called Saviez-vous? Did you know? In this section, dear learners, we have planned to bring you interesting facts, but important facts that that will tell you some very exciting information about France and the Francophone regions. Small little bits of information that is going to make your learning fun and more interesting. So today we have this bit of information for you. Did you know that French was the official language for England for almost 300 years? This is surprising but true. This lasted between 1066 and 1362, and the language was spoken by royalty, aristocrats, and high officials, some of whom couldn't even speak English. But French was the official language, the royal language in England. Well, we have neared the end of our lecture today. We did terms of greetings, good morning, good evening, hello, casual expressions, salutations, some simple words. We did les chiffres, numbers in French from 1 to 8. We started with les alphabets français, alphabets, and we did from A to M. Then we looked at maps of France, its borders, and the Francophone regions of the world. This was today our first lesson from the unit Bonjour, and I'm sure you would have learned some new things about the language and the country of its origin. Dear learners, language is a matter of usage and habit, so make sure to revise this before getting on to the next lesson. And once on to it, I assure you, you will fall in love with the French language and the culture. Join me for the next class. We shall meet with some new information, new details, and some music perhaps. À bientôt et merci. That's see you soon and thank you.